Stevens is on your left, Graves is on your right. And we got 2 green decks here, my friend. I'm going to give you Todd Stevens' green-white evolution list so you can see exactly what Todd's up to. He loves a deck like this. For Graves, he is going to play a Cavern of Souls naming Elf, and he's going to play Land of War Elves, and it's very clear what Robert Graves is up to right away. The Elves deck that we were watching here, Ross Merriam was able to make the elimination rounds in Richmond with Elves, and Elves is a deck that's starting to get a little bit of popularity on Magic Online as well. It is as straightforward as can be. You play all your Elves, you have Court of Calling Collected Company as 4 Elves, you've got Azuri, which you want to find to be able to kill your opponent, and you've also got the infinite mana combo kind of baked into your deck of Devoted Druid plus 1 copy of Vizier of Remedies. That's it.
And I think when I've watched Elves, anytime they're in a creature-on-creature matchup that doesn't involve a ton of removal, Elves looks like a dominant deck in all sorts of matchups because it's so redundant, it's so fast, and now with that combo, as you mentioned, you can actually go infinite. Stevens gaining infinite life is not good enough.
No, it is not. For Graves, he's just going to play 2 more Elves, 2 copies of Elvish Mystic. Only 1 land here for Robert, but mana, he's got 4 of it right now, which means he could play Collected Company next turn. For Stevens, he just played a Scavenging Ooze. Now he's going to attack with the Ooze. So it's going to be 18-18 here. Now we'll see where Stevens wants to go next. He does have Archangel of Thune in hand. He'll sacrifice a Windswept Heath, and now he's going to play a Kitchen Finks, so he'll gain a little bit of life and, of course, hope that he is not dead here somehow.
And when we speak to redundancy, you know, all the Elves feed into each other, and it generates a ton of mana. The creatures on Stevens' side of the table are just sort of a mismatch of utility. It's much harder for him to get his combos online, and they aren't necessarily good enough. Graves has neither of those problems.
For Graves, he did find a land. He's got a forest now. He's got 5 mana to work with, and he's just trying to figure out how he wants to sequence everything. Vizier of Remedies in hand. You can see the Collected Company. Looks like he's also got a Deerwind's Elite and a Court of Calling as well. So the goal here, of course, if you're Graves, is just to figure out the easiest way to get the game over with as fast as possible. Your hand's pretty good. And he's just going to pass right now and set up either Collected Company or Court of Calling. For Stevens, he picked up a copy of Horizon Canopy. Todd, a very well-versed Modern player, as we know. He's put a lot of Modern decks on the map, be it Bant Eldrazi, this green-white Evolution deck. There's also, of course, the success that he's had with Eldrazi-tron, as here's a Collected Company. Top 6, Azuri among them, and now there's a Devoted Druid as well. It looks like Stevens may have a Path to Exile in hand. See if he wants to fire that off right away or not. And he's already reaching. So he's going to go after Azuri, which is a pretty natural target.
Well, the paths don't have a lot of good targets against Elves because so much of them just make a mana. And so pathing and allowing your opponent to find a forest is not very good. But Azuri is one of the sort of linchpin cards. That's a fine card to use a kill spell on.
The problem here for Stevens in just a moment is that Graves is going to have access to infinite mana because he's already got the Vizier of Remedies in hand. So that in combination with Devoted Druid is infinite green mana. And we're going to find out if Graves has anything to do with it as he does untap.
Yeah, any payoff card here is good enough to win the game.
And I actually think he does have Court of Calling in hand. But the problem right now is the lack of a white source. No Horizon Canopy. No Windswept Heath. Another Cavern of Souls, Rage of Thicket, all that stuff. So no white source just yet, oddly enough. Here's Elvish Archdruid. Oh, the Westvale Abbey. Into a Darwin's Elite, which will bring an 1/1 elf token along with it. So no infinite mana just yet, but could do a little bit of work with Westvale Abbey transforming into Ormondal. Well, we go to Stevens, who has a Ghost Quarter, and now an Archangel of Thune. And he will simply pass the turn back. Graves is going to play Court of Calling. It looks like for 3. And he's going to go get himself in his Azuri. This game might be over right now, Patrick.
I think we're done here.
when it is creature on creature, like you mentioned, Elves is in a really good spot.
Right. There's a couple ways that you can attack Elves. I think that being a spell-based deck where you're ignoring their ability to just winning combat a ton, that's one way to do it, or just play with a lot of removal.
There's the white mana that was missing. So here's Vizier of Remedies. Make infinite green mana, give all your creatures +3/+3, and trample as many times as you'd like, and that makes things very easy. As Robert Graves is going to win game number 1 here over Todd Stevens, Elves very quickly destroys Greenwood Evolution in game number 1, and it's because the matchup is creature on creature. And you saw Stevens with a little interaction, he did draw a path, but one path isn't going to stop this deck.
No, if both people are just dumping creatures on the table, I think Elves gets the better of that across a wide spectrum of matchups.
To the sideboards we go. We'll start with Todd Stevens, number 1 on the SCG Tour leaderboard, who's got 2 Stony Silence, 2 Engineered Explosives, 2 Gideon's Intervention, 2 Surgical Extraction, 7 Fun-Ups here, and even Mind Sensor, Elspeth Sun's Champion, Kataki Wars, Wage, Linvala, Keeper of Silence, which is a doozy in this matchup, along with a Reclamation Sage, an Eidolon of Rhetoric, and a Sigarda, Host of Herons.
This is pretty lean here. The 2 copies of Engineered Explosives and the Linvala are great, and then past that, I don't know if any of these cards come in. Maybe Eidolon or Rhetoric, but even that, it's not like Graves is playing that many spells in one turn. It's, Chord on tap, do something, or Collecting Company on tap, do one thing. So probably just Linvala and the Engineer Explosives.
Yeah, I'm not in love with too many of the options here for Todd Stevens. So the ones that he does have in Explosives and Linvala, are really good.
Yes.
Those cards are very good. We go to Robert Graves, who's got 2 Lead the Stampede, 2 Path to Exile, 2 Reclamation Sage, and he's got his one-ofs here in Burrington Forge Tender, either Sworn Canonist, Kataki Wars, Wage, Selfless Spirit, Aven Mind Sensor, Eidolon of Rhetoric, a Chameleon Colossus, great card against Death's Shadow, Rest in Peace, and a Stony Silence.
Pretty light sideboarding here probably as well. The 2 copies of Path to Exile seem fine. Maybe Graves doesn't know exactly what Stevens is up to, but it's probably a synergy-based creature thing, utilizing the graveyard, so paths are fine. The 1 Aven Mind Sensor is low cost. Todd's deck probably picks it up and shuffles a little bit. Caught me in the Lead the Stampede maybe as well, but very light sideboarding.
Yeah, not a ton, right?
Not a ton.
Not a ton. Well, both players here are going to sideboard and shuffle for game number 2. Todd Stevens will be on the play. And while we wait for them to get ready, we did announce another Grand Prix that we're hosting here. We just finished up with Grand Prix Washington, D.C., and we've got a Grand Prix in Atlanta taking place here very, very soon. Details for that event are coming up right now from Split Second's own Jeremy Knoll.
On November 10th through the 12th, make plans to be part of Magic the Gathering history when StarCityGames.com proudly presents Grand Prix Atlanta. Register by Sunday, October 15th for the standard format main event to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and receive an exclusive playmat featuring Sun Blessed Mount. Select the 3-day Infinite Challenge package to compete in all challenge events for one low price, while also walking away with the exclusive Sun Blessed Mount playmat. All Friday challenges are also Grand Prix trials. Come out early and compete for buys in the main event and more chances to claim a Sun Blessed Mount playmat. Prefer 100-card formats? Register for the Ultimate Commander package to play in 4 Commander on-demand events and take home a Commander vs. playmat and Ultimate Guard Boulder deck case. Want to play on Magic's grandest stage? Compete in the Pro Tour qualifier on Sunday and receive a Progenitus foil promo just for playing, plus the chance for an invitation to Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan in Bilbao, Spain. And don't forget to come say hello to Grand Prix Atlanta's many special guests, including cosplayer Christine Sprankle and an artist alley full of fan favorites, headlined by guest of honor Therese Nielsen. Be part of Magic the Gathering history. Register for Grand Prix Atlanta today.
November 10th through the 12th. Grand Prix Atlanta. Going to be a lot of fun. New standard format there. Hopefully we'll see you guys there as we begin game number 2 here between Graves and Stevens. Stevens will start things off with the Birds of Paradise, while Graves has a Razor Verge Thicket and a Llanowar Elves. See if Todd can actually get his Value Town deck online this game. Maybe a little something like Night of the Reliquary.
Back when I've been playing various lists of Zoo, and that's different than what Stevens is up to. But I got to the point where I was not boarding in Path against Elves.
Okay.
It just was never, it was so rarely good because either it's a bunch of mana creatures, and even with the key cards, like Azuri, for example, sometimes they're just like Azuri and do everything in one turn. You couldn't even break it up with a path.
No good.
Right.
And we saw the last game where Path was nothing.
Right.
Basically had no effect. Now Todd Stevens has another one again, but one piece of disruption, not hard for Elves to beat. It's multiple pieces of disruption, maybe even a little discard.
Or pressure.
Yeah.
Or something recurring like Grim Lavamancer.
Scavenging Ooze going to come across here for 2. Graves going to fall down to 18. Stevens at 17 with 2 birds. Now a Voice of Resurgence. A Windswept Heath. I'm going to pass the turn back over to Graves. Graves will draw. Patrick, we know you're a big fan of Voice of Resurgence.
I really enjoy it when it shows up in matchups where the other player doesn't really play into it at all.
Yeah, no, all sorceries.
There's just so much text, and none of it amounts to anything.
At the end of the day, in this matchup, Voice of Resurgence is going to be a 2-mana 2/2. That's just about it.
Collected Company, Quarter Calling.
Could show up.
Couple instances.
Yeah.
But anytime that's happening, you're getting a token and then not getting to your turn.
Yeah, that's most likely true, yes. Here's Dear One's Elite. 1/1 Elf token on the way. Former Invitational champion, Liam Lonergan will be playing the role of the Elf token here. And now another Elite, which means a second Liam's on the way. Graves with the setup. Now it's going to be a court for 2, which means this is an attempt at infinite mana, it looks like. So if you are Todd Stevens, you are going to have to respond to this.
Well, you could wait for him to get the Vizier and then break it up if you wanted to.
That's very hard to do.
Oh, it's because you can just respond.
Correct.
Yeah, you're just responding.
That's very
right.
hard to do.
Yeah, he's got to do it now then. Because the problem is, now he just gets a different utility creature.
Yeah. Or in this instance, he just gets another Devoted Druid and can set up the combo again if he's got another way to get a Vizier.
Yep. You would ideally like to let him get a Vizier and then break it up and leave him with a Vizier not doing very much in play.
Yeah, if you could.
But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So he gets the cord for the right combo piece and then try again maybe next turn.
Stevens is going to search up a little something here with the Windswept Heath. We'll see what land he wants to go get.
Now you can see Stevens' cards just, they are nonsense. It doesn't line up at all with what the game is about.
No. In some matchups, Ooze, Voice, Path, really good cards.
Yep.
In this matchup, nope. Now, he does have some cards he can draw that are very good. Linval is a real doozy. Wooded Foothills isn't. He does have Eternal Witness, which would be a second copy of Path. That's not so bad.
The paths are only staving off for so long.
Here comes Ooze. And now this is Witness. It'll get back Path Exile. And that is Todd Stevens' only line of defense at the moment. So Graves is going to untap all these Elves and those 4 lands. He'll draw a card. Picked up a copy of Cavernous Souls, has another Cord in hand, and also has a copy of Azuri, Renegade Leader. Elves looking pretty good right now. See how Graves actually wants to sequence things out right now, however. He's also got a Horizon Canopy he can sacrifice to draw a card if he wants to go that route.
You know what is a somewhat confusing mechanic?
Do tell.
Untap as a cost.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. I have a feeling we're not going to see that one return.
No.
Good idea in theory. I liked it, and back when I was playing then in Mega Spiky, I thought it was cool.
Right.
But now that I am older and...
I just like knowing how the cards work.
Yeah.
As a gun holder, I appreciate that.
I'm less spiky, and more I just want it to make sense.
Right. And also be fun.
That too. That too. Devoted Druid, probably the best card that had that mechanic? Probably. Here's Path on Azuri. And Gray's going to search up a land. Stevens will play a Wooded Foothills, and I think we might see Graves fire off a Court of Calling on the end step here.
Well, it depends how. It depends if he actually has a kill lined up that way, because you are giving Stevens a Voice of Resurgence token.
That's true.
He can just wait.
He'll start by sacrificing Horizon Canopy. And he won't fire off Core just yet. He'll instead untap and draw. I think he may have actually found another copy of Azuri. But there's another Devoted Druid first. Play Razorverge Thicket, pass the turn back. Scavenging Ooze is going to need a couple cards out of Robert Graves' graveyard. Stevens will draw a card.
Not the most confident draw steps here from Stevens.
I'm just going to very happily play a Windswept Heath, pass the turn back. There's Azuri Renegade Leader. Graves pretty confident with how things are going. I actually think he's going to be able to tap these for green. He might be able to do a lot of work with the overrun here. So he's got 4 green. This is 5. Yeah. So one of the things you can do is he can overrun, and he'll be able to overrun, and his creature will be big enough just to do it this way.
Yep.
He doesn't even need the infinite mana and be able to attack for a ton of damage. So it doesn't even need the Vizier to get the job done. Azuri in combination with 2 Devoted Druids is more than enough for Robert Graves to win this match over Todd Stevens 2-0 as Elves destroys Greenwood Evolution. And for Todd Stevens, who we know and love, this match was horrible for him.